version of Central Casting. Today, 30 teams put out the call. Wanted, the class of 95 leading men. For the last 6 seasons, it's been the Barry and Emmett show in the running back spotlight. Now, Penn State's Ki-Jana Carter wants in on the act. The road less traveled was smooth enough for sweetness and good enough for rice. Alcorn State's Steve McNair hopes to follow their lead to greatness. The big man up front is a rare and coveted role. Florida's Kevin Carter has the look and, according to some, a perfect fit for the part. Calling all stars, it's the NFL Draft on ESPN. A beautiful day in New York City. Inside the Paramount Theater, the Madison Square Garden Junior, the action is heating up. Big news last night involving the fine defensive tackle Warren Sapp of the University of Miami. Where will he go? Big news at top of the draft, where Ki-Jana Carter, running back Penn State, is the #1 pick. The Panthers have made a trade of that pick. A crowd of close to 4,000, draft towels and all. The fur is flying in New York as it is elsewhere around the league. Chris Mortensen reports from Charlotte, where Bill Foley and the man who built the Bills will start to build this new franchise. They already have veteran quarterback Frank Reich to start the season. What they put around him is the big question. Andrea Kramer's in Jacksonville, where head coach Tom Coughlin has spent 2 years preparing for the next few hours. Steve Berline, Desmond Howard, and Jeff Lageman are the nucleus. The rest will be decided today. Also in Florida, Gary Danielson will be with the Buccaneers, who scored in last year's draft with Trent Dilfer and Eric Brett. This winter, they signed Alvin Harper away from the Cowboys. War Room Cam will focus on Sam Weiss as the Bucs look for some defensive help to go along with Hardy Nickerson. Hank Goldberg is with the Jets, where new head coach Rich Kotite is hearing the cries to replace Boomer at quarterback. But with the loss of Lageman, defense may be the call. Moving up north, Brad Nessler is with the Vikings, and equipped with War Room Cam, where Dennis Green has 4 picks in the first 2 rounds. Warren Moon is the soul of the offense, but he's 38. Draft for the present or draft for the future? That's the question. Mark Malone reports from Philadelphia, where Randall remains, but there's change all around him. Ricky Waters in, Herschel Walker out. Plenty of choices lie ahead for new coach Ray Rhodes. Chris Fowler shuffles off to Buffalo, where the nucleus of a championship team is still intact. But the questions surround Jim Kelly, now 35 and recovering from knee surgery. Chris Myers reports from Dallas, where they still feel the sting of January's championship loss to the 49ers. We'll be there with War Room decisions of Jerry and Barry as they look for some protection up front for their offensive machine. Leslie Visser is in San Francisco, where the memory of embracing the trophy is still sweet. It'll be hard to hold on to. Already they've lost Waters. Dion's a question, but this is a club that always finds the player they need. And the coach, Mike Gottfried, is stationed in the film room, where he'll break down the top players in the NFL Draft. Back in New York about 25 minutes ago, it was announced, as the crowd is already getting fired up, that the Carolina Panthers have decided to trade their #1 draft pick and move down to the #5 slot for Cincinnati's #1 pick. The Bengals would move up, expressively probably to take Ki-Jana Carter. In exchange, Carolina also gets Cincinnati's high pick in the 2nd round, the 36th overall. So Carolina would have 4 picks in the top 36, but not the #1 pick. Let's go down to Carolina Panther headquarters and Chris Mortensen and get the reaction on why the Panthers made the deal.
Well, I'll tell you what, Bill Foley and Chris said that he needed players, not just one players, and a running back like Ki-Jana Carter didn't make sense to him with an expansion team. Now he's going to be able to take the quarterback he really likes that he compares to Jim Kelly, Kerry Collins with the #5 pick overall. Then they get 3 picks and 5 slots from the end of the 1st round to the start of the 2nd round. They get their players, they build their offensive line, and I think he feels good about the process that this expansion team's about to undertake, Chris.
All right, Morton, we'll be back to you shortly and often, obviously. That is one story that has brewed just the last half hour. The story that brewed around the league yesterday and certainly last night in the early hours this morning is Mort's report yesterday that a National Football League security check of Warren Sapp, the fine defensive tackle from the University of Miami, revealed 7 positive drug tests, one of which were for cocaine. I spoke late last night with his college coach, now head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, Dennis Erickson. He intimated to me that that was way off base, that there are only 2 drug tests in question, both for marijuana, each one is freshman year, one is senior year, so 3 years apart. As for the rest of the allegations and the stories that have been dug up thus far by the National Football League, Erickson spoke with us on ESPN just a half hour ago.
The 7 positives, the cocaine, that's absolutely a lie and not true at all. And that did not, Warren Sapp did not, or was not, I should say, involved in any in those accusations.
Dennis Erickson loves Warren Sapp as a player, as a person, and one thing we've learned already about Warren Sapp, he's a stand-up guy. He is with our Craig Erickson along with his agent, Drew Rosenhaus. Craig?
Absolutely, he is a stand-up guy. Warren Sapp, Drew Rosenhaus, his agent. A lot of allegations taking place right now. Drew, we'll start with you. Dennis Erickson, you just heard there, he said that the 7 tests were absolutely a lie. Now, last night you said the same. Do you still stand beside that?
Oh, absolutely. There's no truth to that whatsoever. I can't even tell you where this stuff is coming from. Somebody must be making it up. Warren Sapp has never had any multiple tests of that nature. That's a complete untruth. They've talked about cocaine. That's also very much untrue. And you're looking at a guy right now that has had very few problems in the past.
Did you talk last night with Dennis Erickson?
Yes, I did. You know, and I was trying to figure out where these things were coming from. Coach Erickson was obviously there, and he was shocked to hear these reports because these guys have been together, and there was never any problems. It's just false. We're still trying to piece together where this is all coming from.
All right, Warren, and that comes down to you. I mean, have you ever done drugs at the University of Miami?
I've never had a problem at the University of Miami with any kind of substance.
Does all of this blow your mind that this is coming out?
I mean, I'm sitting up here ready for the draft, and all of a sudden we get a call, and then everything is flying at me. So, I mean, it's just blowing up right underneath me. So, I mean, it's just real tough right now.
How about the reaction to Dennis Erickson and his support for you?
I mean, I knew Coach would stand behind me because, I mean, like he's always said, when we ran together, I mean, that's my guy. I mean, he knows what happened.
How about teams? What are they telling you right now?
Well, I've been very impressed. I'm pleased with what the teams have had to say. I don't think that there's a tremendous amount of concern. I think the teams that were interested in drafting Warren before the reports that surfaced last night are still going to take him. I still see him going in the top 10. Some of the teams with real thin skin, they might be scared away by this bogus media stuff. But, hey, that's fine because, you know, he wouldn't want to play for those guys anyhow.
All right, Warren, what about the 2 positive tests?
I mean, like we said, I mean, it's total fabrication. I mean, I don't even know where it's coming from. So, I mean, whoever somebody's getting it from, I mean, I just actually, you know, show some proof then, if that's what you say.
All right, hang in there today. We'll be back with you.
All right.
All right, Chris.
All right, Craig and Warren and Drew, thank you very much. Certainly the name Warren Sapp, one we'll be talking about plenty. But for now, the name of the commissioner, Paul Tagliabue, to open the 60th draft. Let's go to the podium.
Welcome to the 60th Annual National Football League College Draft. We have had a trade of the first selection in the draft. The Carolina Panthers have traded the first pick in the draft to the Cincinnati Bengals. In return for the Bengals' first-round selection, the number 5 choice overall, and the Bengals' second-round selection, number 36 overall. So the Cincinnati Bengals are now on the clock.
Well, we've been on for about 8 minutes, and I think we have a circuit overload. Joe Theismann, Mel Kiper, who will be with us for, well, today's coverage, tomorrow's coverage, as gavel to gavel, 249 picks will be covered here on ESPN. Let's go to Ki-Jana Carter right away. The pick is coming up. He, no doubt, is a Marshall Faulk type, maybe a tad slower if that's possible, but he's right in his class, right?
He's a great football player, Chris. When you look at Ki-Jana Carter and the Cincinnati Bengals, the Bengals matched the offer that Buddy Ryan gave to Carl Pickens. They have Darnay Scott on the other side. Now you're throwing Ki-Jana Carter to a running game that was non-existent last year. And also factor in Eric Bieniemy and James Joseph, who they added through free agency. Ki-Jana Carter needs an offensive line, so the Bengals will have to address that down the road, but Ki-Jana Carter, great football player, tremendous game breaker in that Marshall Faulk mold, and we saw the difference Marshall Faulk made last year to the Indianapolis Colts.
Well, Cincinnati didn't obtain the pick to take 50 minutes to figure out who they were going to select. Let's go to the podium.
With the first pick in the draft, the Cincinnati Bengals have selected running back from Penn State, Ki-Jana Carter. The Jacksonville Jaguars are now on the clock.
Ki-Jana Carter, there he is, and you think of all the work all of these young men have put in just getting to this level, and what a happy day, and the suspense. And I can't say with Ki-Jana Carter, there was a lot of suspense at what number he was going to go. It was just, as he found out late last night and early this morning, Joe, where he was going to go. But obviously the Bengals want to do what Marshall Faulk has done for the Colts, which is immediately elevate them to a respectable 500 football team with sights a lot higher.
It really has, Chris. I think when you take a running back of the caliber of Ki-Jana Carter, all of a sudden you wind up in a situation where you've got a young man who you know is going to be there, going to be able to carry the football for you, and you build through the running game. It takes a tremendous amount of pressure off of Jeff Blake and the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. It helps out an offensive line that doesn't have to be very good. They can be okay because this is the kind of a football player who can make the offensive line look good. It also keeps the defense off the field a lot more. So this one individual impacts the entire football team at every position.
Mel, he is the height 5'10", maybe just a tad bigger than Emmitt Smith, taller than Thurman Thomas, but at 224, he is a lot bigger build, isn't he?
Strong kid, Chris. And you see the extra gear he has. When this kid breaks the tackle and gets into the open field, nobody, no 4-4 corner is going to catch him. He ran 4.35 during individual workout. You see the creative ability he has. Now the balance and the tackle breaking. Now catching the football, low pass, catches it, turns it upfield. Then there's more power that he displays. But it's that ability to sense daylight and then turn it on in the open field and go all the way. And that's the game-breaking ability that Faulk provided, Emmitt Smith provides, Barry Sanders provides, and that's what Ki-Jana Carter is going to do for the Bengals, provided they build that offensive lineup.
Here's a number that blows everyone's mind. I don't care what competition you're running against. 7.8 yards a carry he averaged last year for Penn State. 23 touchdowns in the regular season, 3 more in the Rose Bowl as Penn State defeated Oregon. So 26 touchdowns and 1,539 yards plus 156 in the postseason. I mean, you're talking close to a 2,000-yard back. He is the first running back to be selected with the #1 overall pick since Tampa selected and did not sign Bo Jackson at 86. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Bengals are going to sign him. He'll be the first guy drafted and signed by his team, first running back since 1981. George Rogers, the New Orleans Saints, the year before that with Philly Simms, Detroit, 2 years before that, Earl Campbell. But we haven't seen this for a while. Remember, Marshall Faulk was the #2 pick last year, and certainly Ki-Jana looks good in those Bengal colors. By the way, let's say something about the Cincinnati Bengals right now. Mike Brown, hey, what a gutsy move. He told everyone last night, if you want to come up to the #5 spot, better make your deal by Friday night. He's an honest man because he knew that if no one wanted to come up and give him what he wanted, we're going to go all the way up. Here he makes a gutsy move for Ki-Jana Carter. He has said a year from now, if his stadium situation isn't solved, he would entertain moving the team out. My goodness, the Bengals are standing mighty tall. Where's this come from?
Well, I think it comes from a foundation that they want to go in a direction. I mean, Mike Brown has said, okay, we're going to start and build this football team this way. A running back is a very safe choice. What surprises me is that Carolina, I think, made the move cheap. A 1 and a 2, that's all for him. That's the biggest surprise to me. You'd think a Ki-Jana Carter or the first pick in the draft is going to cost somebody a lot more than just a 1 and a 2. But the ulterior motive of Carolina is they didn't want to take Kerry. They wanted Kerry Collins. They felt like maybe if they moved down a little bit, we know Kerry Collins is going to be there at 5. So Polian may have sold the deal a little bit short, but at least he gets the player that he wants. And, of course, if you're an expansion team, you can't be hurt with picks. As many picks as you can get, that's fine.
Well, the Carolina Panthers now will wait for 4 more picks. They will be the 5th overall. Bill Polian, and speaking with him this morning, Chris Mortensen, knew very well the history of trading out of the #1 spot, that usually the teams that get the #1 player do better than the other teams that get a lot of draft picks. But as he said, Mort, that's only statistics, and he needs players. He's in a different role than most of these teams that have traded out of the #1 slot because he's just building a team from scratch. Mort?
That's exactly right, Chris. I mean, that was the one thing that impressed me yesterday.